and nasty, but that's what a part of me felt like, because he literally was sitting there. And then when the two of them came in dressed like they were coming from the lounge or whatever, and Paige talking about, wow, you guys look snazzy. Girl, no. No.
Laughing when y'all were talking, because all I could think about is when they were sitting. Like, I think this fool makes her go to bed early. I think yes. I think
he like, oh, it's bedtime.
Yes,
and it's her bedtime too. Oh, dang.
He's brought that up a couple times. I'm like, she probably be laying in the bed like.
Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is Crystal Denise Speaks, and I'm back today with my girls to talk about Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 8. Hey everybody.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey y'all, good. I'm glad to be back. I've been missing you guys to talk about this show.
Yes. We missed you, Carrie. We're glad you're back. All right, y'all, let's just jump on right in. I liked last week how we just went ahead and got Paige and Chris off the way. So we can go ahead and do the same this week because, you know, I'm all the way done and tired of the both of them. So bringing up my notes. What'd you say, Carrie? Was that you?
No, it was me. I said, as is everyone.
No, it wasn't me.
They're exhausting. They are, but we are giving them what Chris wanted, his 15 minutes of fame.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what he's wanted.
Yeah, that's what he wanted.
So my very first note was everyone involved with Chris is a mess. Y'all, okay, so this week he brought back his pastor with the drawn on hairline. Y'all remember him?
Okay. Every time you say it.
He brought him back, and then it was a second pastor this time. Y'all.
Was he just a friend? I was trying to figure out who he was. Like, if he was a pastor too.
I thought he was just a friend.
No, he was a pastor too. He called him by pastor. Yep, he was a pastor too. And so he was like,
no, she's talking about, so it was Chris met with his friend and his pastor. The lower third said pastor and friend.
It did? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. To me, I thought it said pastor, so I was just like, all these, like, what types of churches are you going to? But his friend was like, oh, I know what he gonna say. Or he was like, I know what he gonna say. It happened twice. I'm just like,
yeah.
Then he went on to say he was asking for a divorce.
Yeah. But I will say, I wonder if this is the first time that the pastors, I'm like, oh, so now y'all are going to actually be real. Because I'm like, so y'all are getting a real dose of what Chris is like. Because I was like, yeah, show all of how you really are. When he was like, I'm actually good. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm actually turned his phone on and was sitting there disrespectful. That man in that pinstripe suit looked like he wanted to raise up with the hand up. I said, never mind. But yes, it looked like he was about to. His face
Chris is incapable of. He's incapable of even listening to anyone who has anything negative or contrary to what he's thinking or what he wants. He's literally incapable of listening. He's the biggest child. I mean, he's the biggest child. He's like a 3-year-old in a grown man's body. In a wrinkled face. I mean, I don't know.
And it's like, it is not only just childish, like immature, but it's like he's completely selfish, you know. And I know we got to talk, there's so much about them, but fast forwarding to when they had this meeting, I don't even know why they had this meeting with Paige and well, it was Paige being the side chick wife with this couple, but Chris was so
awful.
But he felt like they weren't treating him right. Like, oh, she's not respecting me. Like, he was completely the victim, and that frustrated me so bad. Like, sir, like, who do you think you are? And like, have you just forgot about all this other stuff that you've done to this lady and the things that you dragged her through, talking about he's been nothing but honest? No, sir. I came with pure intentions. Did you really? that's the opposite of the truth. I just, it's so frustrating.
I just don't know what the point of that meeting was.
Yeah.
What did he expect to get accomplished? First of all, when he walked in, Paige was sitting. He didn't go over to greet her. When baby mama came in, he stood up for her. He
They tried
greeted
to
her.
edit it out too.
Yeah, they tried to. They tried to.
I peeped that. I'm like,
Yeah,
he got
they
up and greeted
did.
her. That's what I said. Paige was there meeting with this couple. Paige is not
Yeah.
part of the couple. She's completely on the side.
I wanted Paige to go in more too, because I'm like, the only reason I can see why you would meet with these people was if she felt like she wanted to be vindictive and just like tell on Chris and be like, homegirl, actually, you know, we've been consummating the marriage every day, multiple times. Like this has happened. You know, I thought maybe she was just going to want to tell her the truth, which she kind of sort of did. But to me, I'm like, why would you agree to sit down with him? He's already said he wants to divorce you. What is the point? Like, help me. Somebody tell me why. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was a part of her that thought, because she mentioned like, I feel like she thought maybe he was going to, a tiny part of her, maybe explain more about like, the decision to divorce her, or I don't know. I think she thought she was going to get something from it, and there was nothing there for her. He didn't even it's like you orchestrated and set up that meeting, but you weren't even a part of the conversation. And a part of me, which I hope is not the case, but with him, he keeps going lower and lower. A part of me feels like he wanted Paige to see what he was talking about when he said supposedly, quote unquote, his type or whatever, you know? And I feel like that's super mean, and I just can't even fathom someone disgusting and nasty. But that's what a part of me felt like, because he literally was sitting there. And then when the two of them came in dressed like they were coming from the lounge or whatever, and Paige talking about, wow, you guys look snazzy. Girl, no. No. They don't deserve that comment. You don't comment them.
No.
Okay?
No.
I was hoping that she was trying to throw shade and put it out there like
it was an honest compliment.
No, I was hoping so much that she was like, I'm not stupid. Like, I know that y'all are together or whatever the case may be. Because she was like, I mean, because it was together. Like, they did. They were dressed. Yeah. Like, they came from the same place. They going to the same place.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't know. I feel like production had to make them have that meeting, because a part of me thought, okay, maybe at first I thought, Alex, the same as you, like that maybe Chris was like, I'm going to show what I mean by what my type is. But the way he did not participate in the conversation at all, you called to initiate this, and you didn't even sit down and say, like, I was so pissed that if I was Paige, I would have sat there and not said a word until somebody said something to me. You kick it off. You asked me to have this, you say something. So a part of me felt like with her, she frustrates me so bad, but I don't know. I just have to believe that because of this agreement, because of the show, that she had to agree to this meeting, and that was the only reason she met with them. Because if there was anything in her brain that thought that this was okay, then I mean, I would struggle even more with that. But I just, this whole situation, it's horrible.
And no shade, I was like, Paige, you wore the blue jumpsuit for when you was with the pastor and him. Girl, break out something. You better. It's just me. I know it's a little petty, but I would have been like to the nine. Okay, because baby mama not going to adjust me. Even if he is trash and we about to get divorced, I'm going to let you know. She came in there with that. I was like, Paige.
Or maybe she was going the opposite. Like, I'm not even going to give y'all the time of the day to make y'all think that I haven't cared enough to get cute for y'all. Like, I don't even care.
No.
Maybe that's the way she was going.
I feel you, Alex. I'm like, this is the opposite of what you've been doing. And maybe that means that what she was doing before, she was like, oh, I'm going to try to get him. I'm going to show him what, I don't know. Girl, but the way she came in, not only was the whole setup, the way they had the two of them sit on the couch and Paige sit in the chair, the way the conversation went, I mean, everything about that, even down to what she had on, like, or the way her attempt in her, presenting herself, she came in like the side wife or whatever you want to call her. She's completely outside of what they have going on. It's just I feel so sorry for her, and I am gonna keep saying this, but I am so frustrated that her people, she has no support. Like, I am so sick of seeing her all alone in this entire situation. He got the pastors, he has the baby mama, he got all types of people. She has no support.
There's got to be something else, though. I can't believe that. I think maybe we're not seeing it. I'm sure she's getting phone calls. I know because I refuse to believe, especially the way, like, her brother, when they did the whole introduction at the beginning, it seemed like he was, like, kind of, they were involved in each other's lives. So if anything, maybe she's having to keep him at bay. Like, I hope.
Right.
But we really should be seeing someone go to bat for her. Someone should be on camera saying, because we see everybody else have support, someone to challenge them or to encourage them. We should see someone encouraging her to leave him alone. We should see someone encouraging her to stand up for herself and to know her worth. Like, why are we not seeing that?
Yeah. Right. I agree. And like, even when Clara had people over, like her friends can come for whatever reason, like the other girl stepped in for her friends, which was nice. But right, no one is there. And I think it's maybe just like the way it's production and the way they're making it look. And it's just ridiculous, like at this point. Like, but she continues to just allow it, and I'm just over it. I'm like, girl, stop. And then when they even show previews for next week, why is he back? Like, and why is she back sitting in front of him talking? Like, what else is there to talk about? Like, there's nothing more to talk about. Nothing. I don't know. And then even when Chris's pastors, this is the last thing I'm gonna even say about them because I'm done with them. Chris's pastor and his friend was like saying like, oh, he needs marriage. Like, no, I'm not just going to be, if I'm Paige, I'm not about to be used to help fix and make you into a better man. And not only that, like, why are y'all trying to convince this low down, dirty man to stay with her? She doesn't deserve that. Why are you trying to, and y'all aren't talking to him like, let's work on the things you need to work on so that if you do stay with her, it'll be worth her while.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And then not only that, the pastor himself, if this was really his, his spiritual covering, his spiritual mentor, he should have already known what type of person he was. And he should have been like, dude, first of all, you don't need to get married because you need to work on self. I don't know.
Thank you. It was like lip service. It was just putting on a show. He was saying what he thought he had to say, and it did not apply to the person he was talking about.
Yeah, I felt like he was trying to use that as a prescription, like marriage, to do that. And like to, the solution is not someone else's, a woman is not going to make him whole. Like, if anything, he's like taking from the other women and making them incomplete from like how he's acting with them. And Mercedes, it was so interesting to me, like watching how I'm like, this, the way he was and how disrespectful and out of touch she was, and Mercedes just was laughing and shaking her head. Like,
that means that she's okay.
So embarrassed, and I would have, I understand that like y'all have whatever, but even in that dysfunctional, like us being together, like you're not about to do that in front of me. I'm embarrassed to sit next to you. Do not ever speak to a woman like that in front of me. And I would have got up and walked out. Like and she was like, don't do that. Chris, you always like laughing. It's like nothing has been, he has never gotten, talked to in a way that has been effective. Everyone around him seems to like do it with this sense of like kind of jovial, like it's okay. I'm just, I don't know if he has anyone.
Well, yes. And that's why he doesn't have anyone who really challenges him and, enforces, repercussions for his behavior. He has not had that. And I think that shows that the ex is the current, like she has not left him. Like she's accepted that, because if she knew how he really is, and if they were really broken up because she saw who the real Chris was, I would question why she would even go on the show. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't think she knows how he is?
Okay with how he is.
Because she literally said,
okay with
you're
it.
always mad. It's always something, Chris. And then she laughed.
Oh yeah, she
Like,
absolutely knows. That was an example of just how it is in their relationship. Like
girl.
I do feel like a bit of her was embarrassed, but she wasn't embarrassed to the point where she's zero tolerance. She hasn't
Mm-hmm.
she does not have the ability to put him in check or put him in his place where he knows, oh, okay, this is over the line and I'm not going to do this around her. So no, she hasn't been able to set those boundaries, but I do feel like she was a bit embarrassed in the way that he was acting, but it was more so of like it was her place. You could see that they are a couple and it was her
Yeah.
place to but try to put him in check or somewhat tell him that what you're saying or how you're acting isn't right, even though she wasn't effective in that. But she accepts it. I mean, bottom line, yeah, because you're still with him, she's accepting that.
Absolutely. And I feel like she must have a level of she must also be lacking in the emotional intelligence department also, as well as
Yes.
she has a level of just superficiality that's important to her also, because why else would I just can't see that he offers anything in a relationship. Emotionally, he can't communicate. He is literally like a child, like a middle school boy. Like he mumbles under his breath. He can't speak up. When he mad, he get on his phone. Like just the level of disrespect. He's just like, so she to me, I'm not trying to talk bad about her. I don't know her, but from what I see, I just don't understand like why anybody would deal with that. Like, why would you put up with that? Like, girl, go ahead and have
She needs to figure that out.
Yeah.
I hope she does.
I hope so as well.
I said the same question I have to Paige. Well, I mean, why you keep coming back? Like, why? Like, on top of everything else that he's done, I mean, you have many reasons, but
Yeah. And the last thing, then we can move on. But I really do hope. I also kind of a part of me really had wanted Dr. I don't know if maybe it would have been more receptive coming from a woman, but either Dr. Viviana or Pastor Cal. And this didn't have to be on camera. It could you how they give summaries of like I spoke off camera, but really counseling Paige and offering her some because and you could think this is dramatic if you want, but I feel like there's going to be a level of trauma like for her after this.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yes,
Like,
yes,
y'all need to.
definitely.
This is beyond production and being cute for a show and like money. Like, I really feel like Paige is gonna have some things to work through that she didn't have to. There may have been some other light stuff before, but that she's really gonna have to get through now.
after she watches it too,
I'm not a fan of this.
It may be a different view from her going through it and knowing like what's being taped, what's not. But I feel like watching this, the way I don't know I would. I'm sure she would struggle trying to watch through this season and see how she was portrayed.
Yeah, and hear what everybody has to say, and because everybody's talking about it, So, like,
I was thinking it's like, can you imagine like the stuff coming in your comments?
Oh, I would be off of social media. I would not be on social media at all, like at all. But yeah, leave in the comments. Let us know what y'all think. Was anything accomplished from that conversation? That sit down with Mercedes. To me, I don't even understand why they did it in the first place, and why. Like, I really think that, like I said last week, Chris is gonna stay around to play around. We're gonna see him every episode for the rest of the season, and I just don't understand why. And Paige, I don't want to see you anymore after next week. I don't want to see you anymore after next week. Let him keep coming on here looking dumb, but you just stop being a part of it, please.
Yeah. Girl, if anything, I would be like, yeah, I'm gonna come. I would say, yeah, I'm gonna come every time and never come.
Right.
Stand them up. Just to inconvenience you, make you show up, waste your gas. Like, yeah, I'm gonna come. Never come.
All right, that was Paige and Chris. I keep forgetting about my pictures. All right, let's go ahead and talk about, I don't know, Ryan and Claire and Ryan.
Okay. I mean, I have a couple of sentences about them. So
right.
I don't really know how to feel about them yet. Still, I feel bad that she feels. Okay, so I can understand his slowness or his his pace, because it's scary, and you just met this person and now you're married. Like, it's just a new situation. I understand his pace, and I understand her frustration with his pace, but I don't know how. I don't see how they're ever going to come together, because it seems I just don't see it. Maybe I don't see the spark, and I don't know if that's why they haven't been able to connect. But I just don't see anything there.
Girl,
I feel
we talked
like
about. Oh, go ahead, Bree.
I was just gonna say, I feel like Crystal, watching him the last couple episodes, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe Crystal was right. Maybe she saw something that I didn't or we didn't in the beginning, just about him being controlling, or it's his way or the highway and all that stuff. Like, it started to come out more last episode. But Crystal was saying that from, I think, Crystal, you were saying that from like the first or the second episode.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, I don't see that. I see a lot of that now. And I think with them, the biggest thing that's standing out is just because how abnormal it is for the guy to be the one to say, let's pump the brakes, let's take it slow. So I think what makes their situation interesting, is just that, it's the dynamic is different. Typically it's the woman that says, well, I want to take my time, but it's opposite this time. And she like, mm-mm. And I wonder, she said she's sexually frustrated, but she has also said several times that they're doing things like, why do some things?
Yeah.
And I'm like, homegirl, you better not be taking care of him and he not taking care of you.
She
Listen,
is.
when she said that, and she was like, I don't
Girl.
understand. And she caught herself. She was like, I just don't understand how, some things are okay and they're not. And she just trailed off. And I'm like, girl, now see, something is not right about that. I don't know what that, because it's either, keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with him wanting to, for his reasons, go slower. Because like we said, just because traditionally is the woman, that doesn't mean that it can't be the man. But some things are not adding up. It's that all of that, the whole equation doesn't equal what that is. So I'm like, I would be probing a bit more and asking questions. But see, we saw that controlling piece and the other stuff come out a little bit last week, when I was saying she would be looking, especially when Pastor Cal came over at him before she answered. And she was going to pause and wait to see if it was okay to say what she said. And then I was like, it's interesting because, like Crystal said, this episode, she's going to start resenting having to be bottled up and pretend to be this meek, mild mouse. And that's not really who she is.
No.
And the whole thing too, when she mentioned about the shots or whatever, and that's fine. You can totally say that you don't want to take a drink. Again, nothing wrong with that. But then she was saying it turned into a whole thing, and the night, and it don't have to be all that. No, thank you. And that's it. It doesn't have, well, I'm questioning your friends. You're questioning my friends because they asked you, it's a housewarming and take a Jello shot.
That's his superiority. He's way best and better, and he just looks his nose down at her. Like you're saying, Alex, literally she's bottling up every part of who she really is. That's going to be very suffocating. She's not going to be able to continue to not be herself. And it's not fair. She seems like she's such a fun-loving, happy person, and he's stifling her. But I want her to just be okay with being herself. And then if it's not okay, and if it's not good enough for him, then girl, somebody else that'll be good enough for someone else.
Yeah, because I really feel like she's trying to force this into something that it's not, force the puzzle piece into, it doesn't match. And even their energy, it just does not give me interested. It's not genuine. It feels very even though they're holding hands and whatever, it's just I don't know. It's weird. I'm not buying that. And Carrie, one of the things Crystal said too, I don't know if you agree, was maybe off camera we are seeing they got a whole loving, it's genuine, it's very a whole lot that we're not seeing. But I'm what I see on camera is just cringy a little bit.
Yes.
I don't know. I'll be
yes, I think the cringy is a good way to explain it. It's not easy with them. It's not flowing. It's just not a connection. And we have to watch them on screen, and it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. It's very awkward.
I don't know.
But I also think I don't know. So maybe it is better off camera, but I do feel like just with all the couples and the way things are coming up, I feel this season, or maybe I just recognize it more this season, I feel like production is giving them, encouraging more conversation of what are the obstacles, what things aren't working. So it's more conversation about the things that aren't going well together, or that they need to work through. And I get that, because they need to have those conversations, have that dialogue in order to work through it, and maybe others' opinions help that. So maybe that's the case with them. But also, yeah, I was laughing when y'all were talking, because all I could think about is when they were sitting. Like, I think this fool makes her go to bed early. And she I think, yes, I think
he like, oh, it's bedtime.
Yeah,
and it's her bedtime too. Oh, dang.
He's brought that up a couple times. I'm like, she probably be laying in the bed like.
Brie, that is such a funny image, because I could totally see her in the bed with her eyes open. And remember, he said no TV. Yeah, I can't do that. The glow from the TV. My girl can't watch TV. She gotta go to bed on time. She gotta exercise. She gotta drink them smoothies every day. What else?
She's trying. I think to what Carrie was saying, I think that she's just reaching for a connection, and she's trying to accommodate in hopes that he will connect with her. I feel like she's reaching. But literally, y'all, the only note that I wrote down about them was he walked her dog.
Girl, he did walk her. He can walk her dog, because I will never forget when Chris told Paige he didn't give a crap about that dog.
That's when she should have known, girl, he don't like you.
Girl.
Even if he didn't like dogs, he would have pretended like he was going to take care of your dog. Okay, let's not talk about them again. Let us know what y'all think in the comments. Is there hope for Claire and Ryan? I don't think so. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Brianna and Vincent, which I'm so happy that Vincent came back and he's acting right again. I'm so glad that he didn't actually go all away. I'm glad he knew that he needed to turn around. But one of the things that I love about Brianna, I love how reflective she is. Mm-hmm. She seems very open to be like, what do I need to do? And how do I need to make adjustments? And just, okay, this could have come off this way. She's very humble, where she can be like, okay, I'm not perfect, and there are some things that I can work on. I love that she's reflective. And then she even said, I know, she said unfiltered. I don't know if y'all watched that before the show, but she said she knows that she's a lot sometimes. So she can see that. But yeah, I wrote down that Vincent had my heart again when he said he had to come home to take care of her and her dog. And I forget the dog's name, Cookie.
Cookie.
He was like, yeah, I need to come. I need to be there to take care of Brianna and Cookie. I was like, oh my gosh, I love him.
Well, you know what else I like? I agree with you, Crystal. Brianna has a high emotional intelligence, and that's what happens when you have started. Obviously, the work is never done, but you have done work on yourself. I'm gonna stop comparing, because you know what I'm about to say. But and you are willing, like you said, to kind of humble yourself and then come meet your partner back. And I felt like he showed the same humility when he stopped and turned around in the garage. I was like, that was great, because I felt like him leaving for the night would have totally shifted the tone, and they, it might have took longer to come back. But I also appreciate when a man has friends that make sense and understand.
Yes.
I was like, go friend, say it, friend. He said it concise, clearly, and succinctly. I loved it, all of it. Same thing. I got it. Perfect. Right. He wasn't about to try to boost his ego, make it up, or make him feel good and be like, oh, I understand. No, he was like, that's what you got mad about.
No, Jalen laughed in his face. Jalen laughed all in his face.
I appreciated it, everything about it, because it was such a moment. And I'm like, that is the type of friends that you need to have around. That, he was just so dead on. And I really appreciated that. I'm like, that's a good friend.
And somebody that's going to be honest, somebody that knows you, and somebody that's going to challenge you and make sense like, you know, and I know we'll get to that too, but I think Haley had his good friend too, you know,
Yeah.
but it's just, I don't know. That was a really, I'm like, okay, I see you. And I loved how he didn't necessarily need his friend to tell, you know, I loved how he hadn't left and his friend was telling him, oh, that was so wrong. You know, I love that he changed his mind ahead of time, like Crystal said, or I think maybe Lex, that he turned around in the garage. So I love that, but then I also love that his friend was there to reinforce it too. Like, you know, get it together. Like, get it together. Y'all have to figure this out. So that was good.
Yes, I was like, and told him moving forward, like you can't do that. Like you need to find a better way, a better coping tool, because that's not it. And I'm like, friend, come on, friend.
Yes.
Like, that's it. And have him go talk to other people.
Right.
Yes, we all need friends like that in our life, you know, to let us know when we're being a little too much. And, you know, Crystal, I love how you said that Brianna is so open and she is very self-reflective. And I also feel like Vincent is that way. And I think that's why they're a great match. And that's why, you know, along with them being matched, you know, for what they were looking for in their personalities, but they also have done, you know, self-work. And so, and they both, you know those tools. So it helps when they come together. But I think Vincent is very honest. He might not be as direct or assertive as Brianna is, but he's very honest and he is willing to share how he really feels. I think what's really going to be difficult going forward is how does he address things like within her personality, because it seems like he's hesitant to do that, right? Because I can understand that, because if it's just her personality to be kind of quick-witted and, you know, like biting sometimes, and it bothers him, you don't want to have to point it out every time, you know, somebody says something, you know, every time she says something that might irritate him a little bit, because then it's like he's going to be nagging. But then I also have to think like, he needs to also look to see if there's his own insecurities that are causing him to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just think like her saying, "Oh, that was so Vinny of you." He acknowledged that it was because he was embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? That comment rubbed him the wrong way. But it also made me see how sometimes you might need to speak up a little sooner, and not necessarily like have to point out everything that you don't like all the time, but if you are silent and you don't say anything, then sometimes when it comes out, it might not necessarily be a situation where it's the best example or an accurate reflection of how you're feeling. Like him feeling like she's always making comments, and then he waits to the moment where he just gets really embarrassed, you know, and this situation was so minute. It might have been something, if he had been feeling before, he needed to address before.
It's just building up. But that poses
that.
the question though, because he was very open with that with his friend. And I mean, he essentially said that he was basically, it embarrassed him, you know, because he was trying to do something nice and it embarrassed him. So that I had that question because I struggled with the fact that when he said, you know, when he was frustrated that she said that and he kept saying disrespect, you know, I struggle with the fact that is that really disrespectful, the way what she said and the way she said it. And so then when he was talking to his friend and it came out, it was truly that he was embarrassed. He was trying to be, you know, do something nice, and that happened, and he would have just wanted her to help clean up and, you know, help him with his shirt or whatever. So he was basically embarrassed. So does that mean, is that the same thing? Because you were embarrassed, that means she was disrespecting you? That's what I struggle with. Because I feel like he's so quick to say that word as far as respect, but what is that truly? And maybe it's what does that mean to him? You know,
and that's his friend asked that too. That was good that his friend was like, what does that actually mean? And I think for them, what'll probably be good is if they get some like couple counseling so that they can talk through some of this stuff. Because even like on the last episode when Brianna was asking for examples, he wouldn't give them to her. And she was literally just like, help me understand.
Yeah.
Like tell her. Cause like I said, and like we've all said, she wants to do right, you know? So if you let her know, like when you said this, that happened, Like, oh, okay. So in the future, she doesn't do those things. And I think also the embarrassment comes from they don't know each other yet. Because like with your wife, you shouldn't really just be embarrassed that you spilled some champagne. Like, you know what I mean? But because they're still in that like phase where they're trying to get to know each other and you're still wanting to impress, you know.
Yes, that's why,
And it's like highly stressful because of all of that. So
yeah. And I do think that context is like always key to remember, which looks like you forget about it, but it's obvious because it's like that's the show. But remember that this is like a time they're being put like in a pressure cooker. So this is like, you know, a highly sped up interaction and time frame of doing things for them. So I get that. But I think the thing that Carrie was talking about him misplacing all those feelings, he misplaced what he was feeling, I think, on the moment. And so I think that the reason he didn't have any examples was because he was he couldn't, like Carrie had said, there were some other things that had occurred, but they were in the past. And then he was embarrassed and frustrated. And so he couldn't even in the moment come up with what was actually the real examples of why he felt like she was disrespectful sometimes. Because my thing is the time where he maybe could have said, and again, I feel like disrespectful is a bit strong, but it could have just been like, don't talk to me that way, please. Was when they were in that bathroom at the hotel and she was like, put that in the trash can, do something else. And she had said something, you know, and again, I wouldn't say that's disrespectful, but it was like, it could have just been a moment where like, hey, you know, like, you don't have to talk to me like that. Like that's, you know, that I could have more seen a little bit because she had fired off like 4 or 5 things in that bathroom.
Yeah.
But like, normally I put trash in the trash can, so you don't have to tell me.
No, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right. And that's the example, because I would have been like, okay, like just let's relax a little bit. But that would have been a moment of like, hey, you know, can you not talk to me like that, as opposed to like when you spill champagne. But I think it's like he said, you know, he held on to that and some of the other moments that she had kind of, you know, talked at him in Vegas. And then it came out. So, and Carrie, last week too, the other thing I had said was, I think that he's holding on, like you said, insecurities, but it's also from his previous relationship. I don't know why. I just feel like in some of the things he said when he was talking about the previous person, that she kind of put him down, maybe, you know, or it's something that has to do with like that. And so he's carrying that over. So I feel like he has to, I mean, this is all totally fixable to me. There's nothing here that's like can't be worked through. So I think, you know, it is just about, like Crystal said, it's probably being in that safe space with a professional who can like help them learn how to communicate a bit better.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let us know in the comments what you think. I mean, if you feel like, I feel like we all are kind of like on the same page where you feel like they're going to make it. They'll work through these things. So let us know what y'all think about Bree and Vincent in the comments. So let's go ahead and talk about Haley and Jacob. Oh, Haley and Jacob. I don't even remember them from this episode.
I remember.
So
her friend had a really good conversation with her. She was asking her some tough questions, you know, and I mean, and even the one at the end where she was just like, you know, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do to work on it? So I feel like her friend had some really good insight to help her through. I struggle with them guys because she just doesn't like him.
Yeah. And it's obvious.
It is. And I think she's going to take a lot for her to get over it. I don't know if it's his personality. I don't know if it's his looks. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what's going to help her move past it, or at least say, oh, I like this. Like, it's something for her to connect with him on. I think it's 100% the lack of her being able to find something where they can connect, so that she can maybe hold on to that and build on that to see if an attraction grows. But she is just flat out, bottom line, not feeling him, and I don't know I don't know if they're gonna make it through this.
It's all in her face. She'd be like, it's like this strained face, and then her eyes be big like this. It's all over your face, girl. It's not it. It's just not it. I don't foresee it.
It's probably hard for her to go home at night.
I know.
She probably looks at the calendar and is counting down the days till this is over. She is not.
Oh my
She
gosh,
is
yes.
not in it. When her friend was like, "What are you gonna do about it?" I'm sure in her head she was like, "I don't want to do anything." Like she is like,
Girl, have a drink. That was the other thing she probably said.
Yes, she's not. This is not for her. That's all I have for them.
I appreciate, the only thing I have to say about them is I appreciate that she's trying as in the way that she is, as much as she possibly can. You know, she didn't pull a Zach. You know, Zach and Mindy were just like, she moved into the apartment. You know,
Are they staying in the same room? Sorry to interrupt. Do you know?
I don't know.
I can't remember paying attention. I don't think. I feel like I always. Don't you feel like you always see them come like in the middle? I've never seen them come from the same space.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Question. I feel like if they weren't, then he would bring it up even more.
Mm-hmm.
So she may have, after that first night, she may have moved in there because, like Crystal said, she's the trying girl. She's trying. So maybe they are, but I do see what you're saying, Alex. I see a lot of let's talk in the comment area.
Yeah. Okay.
But even when she like tried to, she was like, let's sit down, like have a drink, like she was trying to like converse with him before and find something. But she's putting in effort. But
and when they had that conversation, it was just like it kind of fell flat to me. I was just like,
because of him. He
yikes.
is very, like he's. Whew. It's a lot of work. I tried to even put myself in her shoes. How would I feel? How would I be able to work through that?
Yeah.
Because even if she like, you know, sometimes you result to humor. Like, let's be silly together. He doesn't even seem like he knows how to be silly.
But it's like he tries, but his humor is it's weird. It's the humor that like you can't even get like an initial ha out. You really are like, it's like you think about it and it's like, yeah, it's
and
not.
Nothing against him at all. You know, I truly feel like there's somebody out there for everybody. Nothing against him at all, but it's like when I think of him, I feel like last season, who was it? Y'all know the one where it was a perfect match?
Amelia?
Yes.
No, she's talking about Woody and Amani.
Huh?
Or oh no, you're talking about Amelia and Bennett.
Yes, and Amelia. Yes,
I yeah.
But yes, like I feel like they were the perfect match. Their quirkiness was like what they needed. Not to say that Jacob is like them, but he's along the same lines of he's a unique character and he needs a unique person to be able to complement that.
Yeah.
And she's not the one. And because of that, she is not into it.
He needs to find some like 80s like group or something to join and meet a girl, because he's a nice guy. I feel bad for him. He really is a nice guy. He's a nice person. You know, he's not trash like Chris. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's a nice person.
Right. And he's done with every couple now, so it's fine.
But and so I wish, like you're saying, Brie, that they would have matched him with his match and not tried to make something work that wasn't gonna work.
I agree with, you know, everything, and that Jacob really is a great guy, and Haley is a great girl too, because she's super nice. Like the fact that she's really trying to not hurt his feelings, that she's really trying to put in her all, you know, that she really wants to see. But I could tell she was emotional. It looked like she was about to cry every time she talked about it. Like there were tears in her eyes. Yeah. And I think it's just because she's so nice and she doesn't want to hurt him on purpose. And, you know, but Crystal's right. She has that calendar out. She's counting those days. She probably has like a countdown GIF on her phone.
I can't
10 days, 3 hours.
Yeah,
she be putting Instagram stories up with the timer, the date and the timer on Instagram.
She working late. She working overtime. She like signing up for everything. Y'all need me to do this. Okay, I can stay late. Oh, do I have to come in on the weekend? I can do that.
She volunteers for Meals on Wheels on the weekends, in the mornings, and evenings, and night. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Let us know what y'all think in the comments. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to Virginia and Eric. All right.
I don't know if this is gonna work now.
So this is my favorite couple to watch
I know, girl.
because not necessarily because I think they're gonna work out, but I think it's so interesting to see how people can just be different and want different things, and it's okay for both of them. Like Eric wants a wife who's gonna call him every 2 hours. That's okay for some people. Virginia's not feeling that. And when he said, yeah, I think it was so great, we talked every couple hours like it should be. And she looked like
that face
yeah.
said everything I needed to know.
Y'all, when he said every 2 hours, I was like, is he joking? And then I had to realize that he was serious. Like that's excessive when you're out of town. That's excessive. Like it's like very excessive. It's not just a little excessive, right?
Very.
No, that was extra.
And I was like, Carrie too. I literally was like, oh, ha ha. Like I was like waiting, and girl, that face, he was dead serious.
He was so serious.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I looked over at my husband like, that's not what we gonna do. Like, no.
He was like, I don't think that wasn't too much, right? And her whole face, I was like, Eric.
And he said his insecurity. He was like, he didn't want her to be gone and just not miss him. Like he was.
Yeah, and then that conversation, he was like, because we miss each other, right? We miss each other. And she was like, where's my wine? Where's the shots?
She was like, where's my drink? Give me my red cup.
Right. I missed you handing me my red cup. That's what I missed.
No. So I low-key, I just wanted to, I don't know if y'all caught on to this, but I felt like she showed the dog a bit more affection, like, than him. And she was like, you miss me. Talking about, then he was just kind of standing there looking. I was like, oh, Virginia.
Oh my gosh. Oh, but then when he said, I don't know if this stood out to anybody else, but when he was like, oh, the dog's a different person around me. And she was like, that's not fair to say. I was just like, that here, I don't know why, but
he was trying to throw shade. He was trying to throw shade. He was trying to say better. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because the dog is calm doesn't mean better. That's not. I was like, no, he's trying to change her. He wants her to be a different person. He wants her to calm down. He wants her dog to calm down. He wants her to like accept kisses from him all day, every day. Leave her alone. She just wants to be left alone sometimes. It's just a lot. Like, just because she is not as affectionate as him doesn't mean she doesn't like him. Like, give her some space. Like, that's. I'm sorry.
They don't have an affection problem.
Girl, they be kissing hard on the lips.
Yes.
I told you my lips hurt when they be kissing. It's forceful.
What did he say? Oh, Carrie took notes. What did he say?
No, he said that he feels he feels like she doesn't like him as much as he likes her because he wants to come up and kiss her all throughout the day, and she's like, okay, dang, okay. Like that's annoying.
But he said when she's sober, when she's working though, he was like she'll be working on her laptop. We don't need to do that. I'm working. Yeah. Can you imagine? I'm like, is that just me? I mean, if I'm working, I'm doing like it's fine. Hey, like, but not.
And if you want to come and like, give me a kiss on the cheek and move on, that's fine. But the way I took it is like, he probably wants her to stop what she's doing, acknowledge that he wants to kiss her, and give him a big old hug and say, I love you too. No.
To me, Eric is a lot. To me, he's a lot like Ryan, where my way is the right way and it's my way or the highway. Mm-hmm. And he keeps bringing up like, because I've been married before or I lived with somebody before and it didn't work. So why do you think that you are like the expert in this? No, sir. It didn't work out for you.
When you said, Crystal, that when you describe Ryan as controlling, I didn't really get that. But I wrote down, Eric is very controlling.
He is.
He wants to control her. He wants her to ask permission. And like I said, maybe there are some people who have, marriages like that and they both enjoy that, the husband and the wife, but these are just two different people. He takes her independence as rejection. And her independence is not a rejection of how she feels about him or anything about him. And that's how he takes it. It's never going to work because she's independent because that's who she is, and she can love and include that in her life. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't see that. He sees it as you either need to pick that life or this life.
Yeah, and I would definitely say too, when you were talking about the controlling, I for sure associated controlling with Eric, and I would more so think that he is that way than Ryan. Ryan is a bit more. I think Ryan's is more subtle. It's like you have to really kind of like.
That's what I was gonna say.
He's very like good at you know, and I know controlling has such a negative connotation, so I don't want people to take it in like, you know, I don't know, just
but it is
person. But it's like Ryan's it's very, he has an art to how he kind of like does that and weaves that in. Eric is just flat out like, and it's interesting because he will say, I don't want her permission. I'm not asking for permission, but it's like, so then what do you want? Because he's saying that's not it. It's not about her getting permission.
I get what he's saying. It needs to be a conversation. Like, you just can't be like if you're married, like Bree or Carrie, you wouldn't be like, all right, Tyrus, like I'm going out like on vacation with my friends. Like, it's going to be a conversation between you and your husband. Like, you know, this is what I'm wanting to do. Like, can we come together on, you know, but she just is like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and I get that, but I think he has to find a different way I think the way that he approaches and tries to like communicate that to her, it comes off as like he has to say it he has to translate that in another way, because the way he's saying it to her, it's coming off as you know, I need to ask you permission.
No, I agree.
And then, I agree with you. Yeah, like you obviously can't just roll out whatever. And the conversation with the friend on the balcony, did you hear when he opened, starter line was like, you being controlling is not going to work. And then they cut and I was like, I wonder how this is going to go. But then it went very differently from what I thought. Cause then it kind of, I don't know if the friend I felt like it kind of got glossed over from there. And I felt like it should have been, I don't know if that was just me. I think it needed to be a bit more cut and dry and blunt on like how and why this could work. Cause it just kind of went to, oh yeah, man. But like, she totally, you know, she's serious about this. And it's like,
yeah,
we needed to do a bit more with that, because I think he's selling false. Yeah. Like, it can work if, and here's like it. Yeah.
I think it's because I think Eric is such a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's why it eventually got glossed over. Like, the friend started out like, okay, we need to have this conversation. And Eric is a nice guy, and he seems like he's understanding. So he'll say like, yeah, I get it, but he's not. But I think it's just because they're just so different and they see marriage differently. He's very traditional and she's non-traditional. And I think she does, like, you know, Crystal said, like, you know, just kind of compromising on how to, you know, a way to say things, or, you know, just like talk about things. But I think because they're so different and their views are so far apart and they clashed already, like, she feels like she has to take her stance and he has to take his stance. And so where she should be a little bit more adjusting of her life, like, she is still living like a single person. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
so, but I think like she has already felt attacked, and so she's just put up her walls, you know. And so, and he doesn't see anything wrong with his way, so he doesn't feel like he needs to change. So I don't see them working out, and I hope they don't work out, because I think that I think if they decide to stay married, they will eventually get divorced, and they will spend time like just fighting and being in a bad relationship.
Yeah.
Do y'all think that he is naturally a controlling person, or do you think that he's taking on more of a controlling personality because of their age difference?
Like the daddy role.
Yes. Yeah. I kind of feel like some of that is coming out, and I wonder, I mean, maybe he truly would be if there was somebody else that was similar in age to him, but I feel like he's taking on the mature, older, dad, uncle, whatever you want to call it. Like, I need to teach her, like, as if he needs to teach her how to be married, how to have, in a relationship, how to live with someone. So I don't know. I wonder if normally if it would be this way, or if he's coming out more controlling because of that age gap that they have.
That's interesting.
I don't know if it's the age gap or is it the personality. Like Virginia is not only younger than him, but she has a completely different lifestyle that he doesn't agree with or he feels like he grew out of. So maybe it's the age thing combined with her lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And so he feels like he just needs to teach her how to get to his level. I don't know. And I don't think it's necessarily her age. I think that's just who she is.
Because he said after a certain point, like, in a few years, I expect. That's the word he used, her to grow out of that. And I was like,
oh my God.
And there's nothing, there are some people who are more extroverted, more of a party person, whatever. And I'm like, that's baby girl. You're not going to she going to be 35, 45, 50. Mm-hmm. And she's having a good time.
Yes.
And that's it. Yes. Like, you're not, when he said, I expect, and I'm, you see how like saying that to someone would be like, like I wouldn't receive that well, No. I'm like, if that's how you're talking, I'm like, that's why you're getting what you're getting. So I'm like, that's not gonna be it.
No. So well, we'll see. Let us know what y'all think in the comments. Like, are Virginia and Eric gonna make it? Is Eric gonna let her be her? I don't know. Well, she's not going to stop being herself.
Yeah,
That's the thing about Virginia. She's not a Clara. She's not a Paige.
Okay,
she's going to do her, and you either going.
One more thing.
Yeah.
When you said that, it made me think about it. How come Chris didn't flip out when I don't know if it was? I think it was his pastor who said, he was like, well, something about your ex-fiance being pregnant, if it's yours. But it was a big thing when Virginia said that. I'm like, that's a regular question.
I caught that too. I was like, he didn't even flinch, didn't move his brow.
He didn't. Right, because it's like, she heard that he was on that show. He didn't go and get married behind her back, and she didn't find out from anybody. If they were engaged, they had some friends in common, family. It was probably his mama called and was like, he got married. You best to come with something.
She said she had no idea. No idea. I'm like, it's something is so wrong about that whole situation.
The whole thing is just
fishy. Like,
his mama then called her and was like, you better come with something.
I forgot about that when you said I forgot about that, but I sat there and I was like, oh, you had nothing to say. It's not disrespectful now, it's not a joke now.
Right. He's awful. All right, let us know what y'all think in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you have not already done so, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and we will see y'all in the comments. Thanks, ladies. I'll see y'all next week.
Bye. See you.